there, welcome to Big V TV. Great to have you with us. Just a couple of sleeps to go, of course, until round one of the senior divisions, Youth 1 and 2, and VYC back in action after a big weekend last weekend. Terrific story coming up for you tonight. We're heading up to Sherbrooke. Of course, the Suns weren't in the competition in senior men last season, and things have been resurrected in a very special way. There's a big connection up at Sherbrooke this season with the Goannas. They are Australia's deaf Australian men's team for basketball, and they're headed to the Olympics mid-year this year. And in a fantastic initiative by the Sherbrooke Suns, they've joined forces with the Goannas, and we're going to see a number of these fantastic players out on court this season in the Suns colours. It's a great story. It's one of those things in Big V. We do community very, very well, and it's terrific to see the Sherbrooke Suns connecting with the Australian Goannas. Sit back and enjoy this.
To be honest, when we got knocked back for putting a team in Div 1, we almost weren't going to put a side in at all. We were offered Div 2 and didn't have the players. So after a few weeks sort of thinking about it, sitting back, I had a chat to Stretch, the Goannas coach, and he said we sort of came up with the idea of maybe being able to do something to help the boys get ready for Turkey this year. Most of them have moved from interstate over the last few years to live in Melbourne, and so it's probably they'll be one of the only teams going to the Deaf Olympics to get to play in a state level competition leading into it. So the idea there was more just from a helping point of view. We didn't necessarily need, in the end, we could have had a year off again, would have hurt us as a club a little bit, but to find a good enough reason to put a squad together, I think that was fair.
The Deaf Olympics is basically the Olympics for deaf sports. Same concept as the Olympics, so all the different sports, but for deaf athletes. In 2017, it's been held in Samsun, Turkey, at the end of July.
Well, it's about the deaf coming together and playing the game that we love, and they do that around the world as well. And we, having win our first gold medal ever in basketball history in the Asia Pacific Deaf Games, we qualify for the Deaf Olympics, and coach has told us we want to aim for the podium.
Really exciting, very helpful as well. Really good to get us, the 5 or 6 Victorian guys that are in here from the Goannas, to start training twice a week together and then playing on weekends. It's going to be a big help for us and big preparation for when we head overseas for a big tournament.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I mean, we haven't had exactly a lot of tournaments prior to the Deaf Olympics, but this one coming up, it'd be great to play against all the state champ, the major of the state champ team, so we're able to test our skills and momentum of the team.
Personally, I don't know what to expect all of the game, but all we know is we have to play our hearts out. If it's a close game, if we win, if we lose by 60, the point is we just got to play hard enough to gain respect and show people who we are.
On the court, playing in a hearing team, especially here in Big V, there's a few challenges, especially for us deaf guys. We can't hear the coach, and on court it's hard to hear everything in the heat of the game. So everything's happening really fast, and we've got to process 100 different things on the spot. So for different guys, they have different hearing loss levels. So for me, I take my implant out when I play basketball, so I can't hear anything. So I rely basically on visual cues and Auslan when communicating with my coach.
Pretty obvious not being able to hear people, I guess. Coaches and your players, that's the main ones. Sometimes, I don't know if anyone else, but for me, I lose a lot of balance with hearing loss. And sometimes it can put you off, but you work around it.
Mostly when they pretend they can't hear me and they've actually got their aids in.
When you bounce the ball, you only kind of feel the vibration sort of thing. It's not like you hear it. When you're calling out, you're only calling out, but you're not really receiving anything. you can assume what a call might happen if you know the game well. Also, you've got to watch a lot, use your eyes. If a few players stop at once, you kind of know that there's something up. But if everyone's behind you, there's been a few times when I run all the way down the court and get a layup.
I've had a couple of them with me in the youth league for the last couple of years, so we sort of worked out a few ways. It teaches you as a coach, you've got to communicate better, you've got to have that eye contact, you've got to slow down and be able to talk. It's not just about jumping around and abusing people. That's probably the biggest challenge when you've got 2 or 3 of them on the court who are completely deaf, and if something doesn't go your way, trying to communicate to all 3 of them. When it's one of them, it's generally okay because they look at you anyway and they make eye contact to see what they did was wrong. So. Oh, look, it's massive. You know, we put a lot of pressure on them in regards to how we expect them to act and how they need to perform, whether we're winning or we're losing. You know, we're trying to attract the right people, and the club itself in the last few years has started doing that. You know, we've got a really great board and a large board at both the junior and the senior levels who put in so much work. It's ridiculous. But we try and put across to these guys the little things that, some of the bigger clubs take for granted, and that is, when you're out, you represent the club. Even tonight at a practice game here, every single one of our youth boys turns up in black pants, black shoes, and their Sherbrooke polo. We take pride in what we do, and we think that then shows back to the rest of the club that what they're doing behind the scenes, we really respect, because we're trying to show them by those little things.
It was pretty cool to come to Sherbrooke, and I wore my polo at home for the first time because it feels good to play for Sherbrooke Suns.
Feeling's pretty good. Pretty positive about it all. Obviously they weren't in there last year, but trying to start from the bottom again and build our way up.
The boys are really pumped up. It's been a hard process in the off season to get it all together, but the feeling amongst the lads and everybody here at the moment is awesome.
Yeah, it's a good feeling. We know it's going to be a tough year. I mean, all the boys, especially a lot of the deaf guys who are going overseas in July this year, it's a massive time because we try and get our pre-season training, and we're going to try and use all the game time that we can get to essentially prepare us for going over to the Deaf Olympic Games at the end of July in Turkey.
Oh, look, you talk about the likes of Sam Cartledge straight away. When you talk about not just deaf basketball, but the deaf community in Australia, Deaf Sportsman of the Year, and these sort of things. He's amazing. He's somebody that he's 23 years old. I'm a lot older than that, and I look up to him. Like I don't know how these boys do it. Look, we've got a really good, strong junior program now. It's grown over the last few years and a lot of hard work put into it. So our 20 sides are going really well. We've got 2 strong 20 sides this year. Plus also, we expect our men's team to slowly move back up through the ranks as well, and make it that these boys want to hang around to do it too.
Well, from everybody here at Big V TV, we wish the Sherbrooke Suns the best of luck this season, and of course the Goannas, the Aussie Goannas. We will be right there with them as they go on and take on the world in the Deaf Olympics a little bit later on this season. Well done to the Suns and the Goannas. Now, coming up tomorrow night, it's a bit of fun on Fridays right here on Big V TV, because we are going to try and tip you all the winners in the weekend coming up. And of course, it's round 1 for the senior divisions, round 1 for youth 1 and 2. VYC are back in action after their big start last weekend at Dandenong. All the tips right here tomorrow night. Don't miss it. 5:30. We'll see you then on Big V TV.